Imagine this nightmare. You're at the cruise terminal, bags packed, passport in hand, ready for the vacation of a lifetime, only to hear those four dreaded words: sorry, you can't board. Forget the obvious mistakes, like an expired passport or arriving late. Because in 2025, some of the most shocking denials are happening for reasons you'd never, ever expect. Today, we are exposing the unwritten rules and hidden policies that cruise lines don't advertise, but absolutely enforce. These are the 11 surprising traps that blindside even seasoned cruisers for small errors with massive consequences. Let's get into it and make sure this nightmare doesn't happen to you. Number 1. Criminal records affecting entry requirements. This one catches many travelers off guard, and the cruise line isn't the one making the call. If your itinerary includes a country where your criminal history makes you inadmissible, you can be denied boarding before the ship even leaves port. Canada is one of the strictest examples. Even a single DUI, no matter how old, can make you inadmissible unless you've applied for criminal rehabilitation or a temporary resident permit. One Alaska-bound passenger learned this the hard way when Canadian authorities flagged his record before sailing. Since the cruise included a stop in Victoria, BC, the cruise line refused to let him board in Seattle to avoid problems later in the trip. And Canada isn't alone. Australia, New Zealand, and several Asian countries have strict entry rules for certain convictions. While cruise lines don't usually run background checks themselves, passenger manifests are sent to port authorities ahead of time. If a country says you can't enter, the cruise line will often deny boarding entirely to protect the itinerary. If you have any criminal history, even decades old, research entry rules for every port before booking. When in doubt, get legal advice or apply for a waiver well in advance. Don't leave it to chance. The cruise line won't take responsibility, and you could end up stranded at the port with no refund. Number 2. You're smelly. It might sound harsh, but yes, it is possible to be denied boarding a cruise because of hygiene issues, including strong body odor. Cruise lines, like airlines, reserve the right to refuse service to anyone whose condition could affect the comfort, health, or safety of others. This falls under unfit to travel and comfort safety clauses, with decisions typically at the discretion of the ship's captain or medical staff. While explicit examples tied solely to odor are rare and largely anecdotal, many lines' conduct policies state that guests who cannot independently care for personal hygiene or whose condition might impact others' welfare may be denied boarding without refund. If a medical condition, whether physical or hygiene-related, could jeopardize the comfort or safety of others, the company could still deny boarding. This becomes more complex when odor stems from a medical condition, such as trimethylaminiuria, also known as fish odor syndrome, a rare metabolic disorder causing a strong, persistent smell. Such cases raise real ethical concerns, but the cruise line's priority will still be the overall comfort of passengers. The smart move is proactive communication. If you have a medical condition that could fall under this rule, contact the cruise line's special needs or accessibility department before booking. Provide medical documentation, discuss possible accommodations, and confirm in writing that you will be allowed to board. Once you're at the terminal, decisions are in the hands of on-site staff, and they may not have flexibility. Number 3, your reservation was maliciously canceled. You're not denied boarding for something you did, but because someone else decided to sabotage your trip. It happens when someone gets your booking number and personal details. That's all they need. In one real case, a cruiser posted a screenshot of their $15,000 family cruise confirmation on social media. Within hours, an unknown person, traced to British Columbia, used that booking number to access the reservation and cancel it. The family flew to Miami, bags in hand, hoping for a last-minute solution, but the ship sailed without them. Their cabin was gone, the ship was sold out, and their dream vacation had evaporated. Carnival offered them interior rooms as a replacement, a far cry from what they'd booked, but the damage was done. This shows just how vulnerable travelers are. One booking number in the wrong hands can erase months of planning with a single click. Guard that number like a bank password. Never post reservation screenshots or share sensitive details online. In today's world, an innocent post can be an open invitation for someone to destroy your vacation. Number 4. Incomplete or inaccurate booking info. This is one of those mistakes that seems minor until it ruins your entire vacation. Incomplete or inaccurate booking info means errors in the cruise line system, typos or mismatched details in your reservation. Your booking record must exactly match your legal ID. That means your full legal name, correct date of birth, and accurate passport details. One traveler discovered too late that their booking listed the wrong birth year. Immigration flagged it during the manifest check, and the cruise line couldn't fix it before departure. With no time to correct it, he was denied boarding on the spot. And here's the kicker. These problems can happen even if you booked months in advance. A wrong passport number, missing middle name, or incorrect suffix can all cause trouble, especially on international cruises where manifests are sent to port authorities ahead of time. If your details don't match exactly, it can turn into a legal and logistical headache. Don't wait until check-in. Review every detail the moment you get your booking confirmation and fix any errors immediately. A 5-minute call months before departure is far better than a last-minute disaster at the pier. Number 5. Inadequate or mismatched identification documents. This is one of the most common and most heartbreaking reasons passengers never make it past the pier, and it's almost always preventable. Expired passports and missing visas are obvious problems, but the real danger lies in the small details. Cruise lines don't just check if you have a passport, they check if it's flawless. A tiny tear, water damage, or a faded photo can make it invalid. One couple lost their trip over loose stitching in a passport, even though it had been accepted by another country just weeks earlier. Name mismatches are another trip killer. If your name has changed due to marriage, divorce, or gender transition and doesn't match your ID exactly, you'll need legal documents as proof. Some cruise lines, like Carnival, don't support middle names or suffixes in their booking systems, which can cause problems if your booking and ID don't match. Even for closed-loop cruises from U.S. ports, which sometimes allow a birth certificate and photo ID, only original, official documents are accepted. A photocopy or a picture on your phone will get you turned away. And crucially for families, if you're traveling with children who aren't your own, like grandkids, nieces, or nephews, you must carry a notarized letter of consent from the parent or guardian. This also applies to single parents traveling internationally. So, do the boring stuff. Triple-check your documents. Confirm expiration dates, match names exactly, and bring all required paperwork. It could mean the difference between sailing away or staying behind. Number 6. Unfit to travel due to health reasons. This isn't often talked about, but it's a real reason people are denied boarding. And it's not just about having a fever anymore. Cruise lines have medical staff at the terminal, and if they decide you're unfit to travel, whether because of visible symptoms or a recent health issue, they can turn you away on the spot. One woman was flagged for a persistent cough she knew was just allergies. She wasn't contagious, but staff feared it might be something more serious. After a quick evaluation, she was denied boarding with no refund. In rare cases, passengers using wheelchairs or other mobility aids have also been turned away, but only when additional medical or safety concerns were present, never for mobility alone. These examples reveal just how cautious and subjective these decisions can be. Any visible signs of illness, suspected contagious conditions, significant cognitive impairment, or recent major surgery can result in denied boarding. In many cases, cruise lines require a signed fit-to-sail letter from your doctor, especially if you've had a recent or ongoing medical condition. Cruise ships aren't hospitals, and medical emergencies at sea are difficult to manage. If you have any recent or ongoing health concerns, physical or mental, contact the cruise line's medical department well in advance. Declare your condition, confirm the required paperwork, and avoid last-minute surprises at the terminal. Number 7. Unaccompanied minor and age policies. This rule quietly kills spring break dreams and graduation trips before they even begin. Just because you're old enough to book doesn't mean you're old enough to sail solo. Most major cruise lines have strict minimum age requirements for occupying a stateroom without an older companion. If you're sailing from North America with Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, Princess, or MSC, you must be 21 or older to have your own cabin. Travelers under 21 must be accompanied by someone aged 25 or older, unless they're legally married or active duty military. But here's a twist. If you're sailing with Royal Caribbean from outside North America, the minimum age to sail alone drops to 18. But Carnival and Norwegian keep their 21-plus rule globally, unless you meet an exception. Virgin Voyages takes a different route. It's an adults-only cruise line, and 18 is the absolute minimum to book and sail. Picture this. A group of college friends arrives in Miami, boarding pass is ready, but none are 21. The cruise is paid in full, but at check-in, their IDs reveal the truth. The ship sails without them. No cabin, no refund, no exception. Before you pack, check the cruise line's minimum age to sail policy. And remember, it depends on your departure port and cruise brand. Spending a few minutes verifying this could save thousands of dollars and your vacation. Okay, we are deep in the Shadow Rulebook. If you're finding this valuable, please take a moment to hit the like button so more cruisers can see these warnings. Thank you. Now, let's talk about how the clothes in your suitcase could get you in trouble, not just with the cruise line, but with the local police. Number 8. Offensive or inappropriate clothing. Many cruisers don't realize that what you wear can impact your trip, and in some cases, get you into trouble. This includes clothing with offensive or explicit messages, but also items that may violate local laws. For example, in countries such as Barbados, Jamaica, and Antigua and Barbuda, wearing camouflage is illegal for civilians, including tourists. These patterns are reserved strictly for military use. If your cruise stops at one of these destinations and you wear camouflage ashore, you could be fined, asked to change, or denied entry by local authorities. In one case, a passenger wore a camouflage tank top on embarkation day and was pulled aside. He thought nothing of it. It was just a fashion choice. But staff warned him that wearing it ashore could lead to penalties or even arrest. While enforcement varies, and some passengers report no issues, it's not a risk worth taking. Cruise staff may also ask you to change if your clothing is deemed inappropriate for the ship's family-friendly environment. Refusing to comply could result in denied boarding or even removal from the ship. Bottom line, before you pack, do a quick Google search for clothing restrictions for every port you'll visit. And as a general rule, leave the camo and anything with controversial or explicit content at home to avoid unnecessary stress or missing a port you were excited to see. Number 9. Failing the mandatory safety drill. You've made it past every checkpoint, stepped onto the ship, and the music from the Lido deck is calling your name. It feels like the vacation has begun, but it hasn't. One final requirement stands between you and sailing away, and ignoring it will get you kicked off before the ship even leaves port. I'm talking about the mandatory safety drill, or muster drill. This isn't a friendly suggestion. It's required under international maritime law. Every passenger must complete it. Yet, on every cruise, someone decides the rule doesn't apply to them. They hide in their cabin or head to the bar, hoping no one will notice. But the crew notices. Security officers will check cabins, call your name over the PA, and give you one last chance. Fail to show up, and they'll deactivate your cruise card and escort you off the ship. No arguments, no refunds. Just you, standing on the pier, watching your vacation sail away without you. Pro tip: treat the muster drill as the most important appointment of your trip. It takes minutes, and once it's done, the pools, bars, and buffets will still be waiting. Your vacation starts when the captain gets the all clear, not before. Number 10. Overbooking or last-minute cabin issues. Here's a frustrating one, because it can happen through no fault of your own. Just like airlines, cruise lines sometimes overbook their ships, and in rare cases, a last-minute maintenance disaster, like a burst pipe or broken air conditioning, can take your specific cabin out of service. Imagine checking in, everything perfect, only to be told an hour later, "We're sorry, your cabin is unavailable and the ship is full." It's like being bumped from a flight, except your entire vacation just vanished. While most cruise lines handle overselling by offering volunteers generous compensation to move sailings, passenger reports confirm that involuntary bumping can still happen, especially with guarantee cabins or sudden maintenance issues. Documented cases of overselling and last-minute cabin cancellations have occurred as recently as this year. If this happens to you, don't accept the first offer you're given. Negotiate for better terms, such as a full refund plus a significant credit toward a future cruise. You can't eliminate this risk entirely, but you can lower it. Book directly with the cruise line, avoid guarantee cabins, and complete your online check-in the moment it opens. Passengers with early check-in and confirmed cabin assignments are the least likely to be bumped. Number 11. Filing a post-cruise credit card dispute or chargeback. This is one of those reasons that sneaks up on travelers, sometimes years after their last sailing. It happens when a passenger, unhappy with some part of their cruise, files a credit card dispute or chargeback once they're back home. Maybe their shore excursion was canceled, the cabin didn't match the brochure, or they weren't satisfied with a future cruise credit. The bank might agree with them and issue a refund, but the cruise line doesn't see it that way. To them, it's an unpaid debt, and they have a long memory. Many passengers only discover the fallout when trying to book another trip, only to find they're on the cruise line's no-sail list. Some even get letters from debt collectors demanding repayment. In one publicized case with Norwegian Cruise Line, a passenger disputed $3,000 for a canceled cruise credit, got her money back, and thought it was over, until she learned she was banned from sailing with that line ever again. The lesson is simple. Resolve billing issues directly with the cruise line first. A quick win with your bank might cost you every future trip with that brand. Bonus tip: the number one insurance mistake. Before we wrap up, here's one last bonus tip. This isn't a reason for denial, but it's the top mistake that costs cruisers thousands. Many assume travel insurance is a magic shield, but it often won't cover many of the reasons we've discussed. Denials due to a criminal record or a name mismatch on your booking are typically seen as the traveler's fault, and most policies won't reimburse you. Always read the fine print of your policy. The takeaway is simple. A little extra preparation means you'll be sipping cocktails on deck instead of watching your ship sail away. And to be fully prepared, make sure you know the more common reasons for denial we covered in Part 1 of this series. You can watch it right here on the screen. Thanks for watching!